Hey everybody, what is up? My name is Martin and welcome to 2K Central. I hope you guys are having a good day. So recently there was a new trailer uploaded revolving around the Marcano family. Apologies for the delay on this breakdown, I've been out of town, but here we go. Immediately we get an image of Sal Marcano, the leader of the Marcano family, holding a cigar, then transitions from Sal by zooming into his eyes to tell us a little about his backstory and show us things from his perspective. I know, I said that every time. We get a view of the city along with the text to control New Bordeaux. Now, we all know at this point that Sal and his family together have full control over the city of New Bordeaux when this game begins. So as a little bit of a recap, Sal got into a position of power by betraying his father and then blaming his father's death on another family who were in power. Sal then uses the death of his father to rally his brothers Tommy, Lou and another unnamed brother. Through their need of revenge, together they were able to take full control of the city. So yeah, Sal has backstabbed his way to the top and is willing to take down his own father to gain power. And we also get some examples of how much control Sal Marcano has through some case files on the Mafia 3 website. That poor son of a bitch, Bill Aiken, was carving out a name for himself as the voice of New Bordeaux in the local paper. Idealist? Maybe, but also naive. There aren't enough men like him left that take a stand. It's a damn shame that he had to go and rattle Marcano's cage without thinking it through. This accident happened the night after the first hatchet piece ran on Marcano. The cops left it alone. Just one more death swept under the rug. So Bill Aiken, a journalist, spoke out against Sal Marcano in a bid to make the people of the city aware of who Sal Marcano really is. And we actually get the full article here too. I'm not going to read out the full thing, but he basically talks about how Sal Marcano is perceived by the city. They view him as a businessman who has built a career out of nothing. But an interesting little note, Bill Aiken says through Georgie Marcano, he found out some juicy information about Sal's past, and this is the first issue of an ongoing series on Sal Marcano, but he is soon killed after this article. But it just shows us that Marcano has full control over everything, including the media and most likely the police. And the majority of the city have no idea. It then cuts to a bunch of money, which is possibly the one thing that motivates Sal Marcano the most. Money, power, and family. Now, we're given a prime example of what Sal is willing to do for money in the heist trailer. He is capable of breaking alliances and is willing to risk it all, including his family. We then see members of the Mafia getting out of a car and getting into position for what looks like a hit on a certain someone. And we also see another car pull up as backup. And it also includes the text, "The Mafia killed without mercy." It then cuts to a few shots of dead men to highlight what the Italian Mafia are willing to do to keep control and what they're willing to do to anyone who gets in their way. But honestly, I think the majority of this is the work of Lincoln Clay. In a previous trailer, we actually see Lincoln rough up this dude, who is clearly dead in this scene in the trailer. The trailer then transitions to this very interesting scene that has 4 members of the Italian Mafia and what looks like Tommy Marcano in the middle. Also, based on the background, it looks like the locker room of the cage fighting arena, which Tommy Marcano actually owns. So maybe these guys force Lincoln to fight for some reason. It would be odd, but honestly, I don't know why Lincoln would actually fight in the arena, because it doesn't really help him take down Sal Marcano unless he was actually forced to do so. Now, the small missable detail in this clip is Lincoln's outfit. As we all know, Lincoln has specific outfits for specific missions. In this one, he is wearing the tank top, meaning this scene is most likely related to this one, in which Lincoln says,
"You are who you are. No point in arguing with yourself about it."
Now, the only thing is that doesn't really look like Tommy Marcano. But based on the other clips we've seen, we can barely recognize Vito sometimes. But I'll get into that a little more later on in the video. It moves on to the Italian Mafia kicking the shit out of some poor guy. We also see this guy in a somewhat fancy suit watching in the background as he holds something in his hand. We then see this poor guy just hanging around. I'm sorry, that was terrible. But I'm not exactly sure who this guy is and how his sunglasses stay on his face, but he's clearly angered the Italian Mafia in some way. It soon transitions to a shot of a parade and a poker table. We talked about this before, that it would be awesome if poker was an option as a side activity in the game. But it seems very doubtful, considering everything Lincoln does outside the main story is meant to strengthen his goal for revenge against Sal Marcano, and I'm not sure how poker would actually do that. We then get this image of a deal taking place. One guy is handling the money while the other seems to be documenting the transaction, which is rather interesting. Shows us that the Italian Mafia are somewhat organised. And here's a shot of the whole family, except for Sal, standing side by side. We assume this is everyone who has the Marcano name in this game. And we see Tommy on the right, Uncle Lou beside him, Olivia Marcano in the middle, who is the widow of Sal's third brother. And we get Georgie, Sal's son, to the left of her, and on the far left, I'm unsure who he is, perhaps he's Olivia's son, but he seems to be in the World of New Bordeaux video we got last week. And like most Marcanos, he is not in a very good position when he's one-on-one with Lincoln Clay. It then transitions to Tommy Marcano pouring gasoline. Now the next sequence of clips that are shown try to trick us into thinking that this is at Sammy's bar, but if you actually look at the background, it looks different from Sammy's. If you look at the floor, Tommy is only pouring the gasoline in a specific spot. Personally, I think Lincoln is tied up here and Tommy is pouring gasoline on him and all around him. We then see this clip for less than a second, but there's a lot going on here. Tommy is holding a lighter, which seems to be the same lighter from the reveal trailer. So it's possible that the way he died in that was specifically written for the trailer, because there's some scenes in the heist trailer that were specifically written for the trailer. So Tommy's demise is going to be a little different in the full game compared to the trailer. But if you also look at the background, you can see a member of the Italian Mafia carrying drugs or money, so it can't be at Sammy's bar. And one small hint is the photo on the wall. It's a photo of a boxing match, something that Tommy Marcano is obsessed with, hence why he owns a cage fighting arena. So I assume this is shortly after the previous clip we see, in which members of the Italian Mafia are surrounding Lincoln. It then shows us Georgie burning Sammy's bar, which we've seen in almost every trailer. It then transitions from two scenes involving fire to another, with Lincoln walking away from the burning boat, which we've seen in the gameplay reveal. It has the text, but from the ashes of their victims, a new family has come together. It then shows us each of Lincoln's underbosses back to back, Cassandra, Burke, Vito, and then it shows us Lincoln once again, who seems to be kicking down a door in this clip. It's difficult to tell what's going on here, but Lincoln does look like he's in a rush and he looks kind of worried based on his face. Perhaps he's trying to save someone, but I'm not going to delve too deep into that because we could go places that no one wants to go. Now this clip is rather interesting. Burke draws a gun on Vito, so it seems. Now it's fair to say that this takes place early in the game when Burke and Vito first start interacting with each other. And we all know Vito's history with the Irish from Mafia 2. I'm going to put it lightly, he's not a fan, which makes me sad. So perhaps a few words are exchanged between the two and Burke is just tired of Vito's shit. But it's a prime example of how Lincoln's new disgruntled family will interact with each other. They will fight a lot and they won't always see eye to eye, but deep down, they love each other. That's a lie. We then get a continuation of this torture scene involving Lincoln, Cassandra, and this poor dude that we've seen in a previous trailer. But what we've seen previously was Lincoln handing Cassandra the knife, which made us believe that he was asking her to torture this dude, and it looked like Cassandra was capable of doing it. But based on this clip, it seems like she wasn't willing to torture the guy after all, and she actually gives Lincoln back the knife. And if you actually look at Lincoln's face, he looks so disappointed in her. Well, how else is he going to get his cakes? We all know it's a fetish of his. Alright, moving on. Here we see Burke and Lincoln staring down at some dude as Lincoln is about to hit him with the end of his rifle. So a little interrogation going on here once again. It soon transitions to Lincoln staring into a flame of a lighter with the text, "and they're out for blood." Lincoln looks extremely sweaty here, but honestly this might be the gasoline that I talked about. If it is, he's living on the edge by holding fire that close to his face. And the reason I think this, I don't see Lincoln sweating after every gunfight, unless this is immediately after the cage fighting scene, which is possible. Lincoln then throws the lighter away. Also, this is right after the legendary line from Lincoln, which I played previously. Except he doesn't seem to be covered in gasoline or sweat in this clip. But maybe that's just another example of how scenes can change based on some choices. And finally, it ends, as always, on Mafia 3's motto: family isn't who you're born with, it's who you die for. But yeah, that is the end of the video, guys. We're approaching 15,000 subscribers, which is crazy. Honestly, by the time this is up, we could be at 15,000. But it means so much, and it means there's another Q&A approaching. So do expect an Ask Us Questions video in the next day or two. Which, for anyone who's new, it's we upload a video, everyone asks questions in the comments, and then we answer them in the Q&A, or as many of them as possible. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Mafia 3 will be released October 7th on Xbox One, PS4, and PC. For more Mafia related content, stay tuned here on 2K Central. Don't know why I say here like that. But yeah, take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Everything's absolutely splendid. Walking down the street and you hear that heavy beat, can't help it.